Chapter 197, The Leaders. Hachi's Walk on the Sea Floor. Volume 14, The Macro Fishermen Pirates on the Scene. So, more fishermen pirates. Alright. Koza shows up. Koza, you used the secret passage. He came to reason with the royal army, but instead, I find the king being killed by our national hero. This can't be happening. So Koza's finally seeing the truth to some degree of the matter. Crocodile doesn't hesitate to fully confirm and explain exactly what the situation is. The king implores Koza to save as many of our people as you can. Oh, and then Chaka speaks. He's not dead, of course, yet. Even Crocodile's Crocodile's like perpetually surprised, right? That he thinks he killed people and then does not, which we're about to see again, I think, in a minute. Vivi intervenes a little with Koza in terms of what his first instinct is. She's trying to save everybody. She doesn't want to incite chaos by letting the royal army know they're about to be blown up. I'm not sure what the right move here really is, but she has one perspective. Koza initially had another. Hers is really to go stop the rebellion and dissipate it naturally, rather than let them know, if you don't do this, you're all about to be blown up, and then let everything just go insane. It makes sense, except when, as we find out, Crocodile has agents in both factions that could make sure the fighting continues, so they'll have a harder time stopping this than they think, obviously. Just more or less what happens. Because Koza does end up telling the rebellion to stand down, but then he is promptly shot. And it looks like it's the king's soldiers, which just incites, that's obviously going to keep the rebels going, right? Side note, I have the individual volume, volume 22, and I do really prefer the paper stock here as opposed to the paper stock in the 3-volume sets. The ink, the blacks are darker in here. But chapter 198, 4:15 p.m. Koza is shot. The Baroque Works sort of reveal themselves. Is it the millions that are showing up here, I think? And then there's a course of dust storm. Can't imagine who did that. It's all a big trap. The fighting continues. War continues. Crocodile decides to enter the scenario himself, and he criticizes Vivi for being idealistic and trying to save everybody, which is going to be the reason why he wins. Tick, tick. Time's ticking away. Your naive belief that you can save everyone will only result in the annihilation of your beloved people. This kingdom is doomed. You can't save it. Throws her off the wall of the palace there. But then, a figure flying through the air on a bird shows up. Has a barrel on his back. Crocodile recognizes this figure and says, impossible. And it's Luffy coming to save the day. And he screams, Crocodile! That's the end of the chapter. So chapter 199. Finally, Luffy's back, right? Hope! Hachi's Walk on the Sea Floor, Volume 15, a reunion with old comrades. So Hachi's meeting the other fishermen pirates here that showed up in the last, chapter 197's intro page. And Luffy, wasting no time, catches Vivi, saves her, lets her know he ate a lot of meat and that he's going to be fine and everything's going to be fine. And he can hear her voice. And Crocodile is not sure how he got out of the quicksand. We have some idea of how that happened, but he has no idea that the reason's standing not too far away from him, or at least part of the reason that he wouldn't expect. And Usopp and Tony Chopper and Sanji all see him. They're quite happy to see him, and surprised in some cases. They were all trying to convince themselves that there's no way he could possibly have been defeated. But here he is, so they didn't have to worry as much as they were worrying, I suppose. Nami does get a chance to confront Usopp about his weapon, his party favor weapon, although she did end up figuring out how to use it, as he points out. But Usopp's pretty beat up, so he looks like a mummy at this point. This, of course, builds to another fight here between Luffy and Crocodile. And Luffy has obviously some kind of a plan, and he's immediately able to hit Crocodile in a way he was not before, which is, this fight's drawn really well, I'd say. I even have the black and the white nature of this in the uncolored normal version. Almost feels like Sin City for a second. It's not quite reversed like that, but there's some moments that have that feeling with the blood and against the white background. It's pretty good. Yeah, and Luffy pretty much is stomping initially anyway, is just stomping Crocodile, stomping him. And we realize he can hit him because Luffy's got this barrel of water on his back, and as long as he's saturated his hands and gets Crocodile wet enough, since Crocodile is essentially sand, that's his weakness, the moisture congeals Crocodile enough that he can't separate. He can't dissipate as easily, so he can get hit. Chapter 200, Water Luffy. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 16, Kami's Surprise, a deal with the fisherman for the Octopus Fritter map. Don't know what an Octopus Fritter is. I don't really know where this one's going, but they look pretty happy with this map. I'll say that. So it's 10 minutes till this explosion. Everybody else is trying to figure out how to find who's going to be setting off this explosion. Sanji and Zolo get into a fight with this big guy, some big guy here. I guess it's the Baroque Works, some part of the Baroque Works, to buy the others time to go figure out who is going to set off the explosion and stop them. Hopefully, right? Yeah, this is the billions. Sanji and Zolo not only take on the one guy, but they're taking on the Baroque Works that are here trying to get in their way of stopping. Well, just get in their way, but certainly get in their way of stopping the explosion from happening. If they even realize that's what they're trying to do, but probably obvious that that would be something they would want to do. They have 10 minutes to do it. Okay, Luffy and Crocodile are continuing to fight. Crocodile, surprised his weakness was figured out. Luffy calls himself the 8th warlord of the sea here, which I have a feeling he's basically right about ultimately. But this is the first occurrence of him declaring to one of the other warlords of the sea's face that he's on their level. He's like, if you're one of the 7 warlords of the sea, then I'm the 8th. The fight continues. Crocodile does sort of begin to be able to defend himself a little, but Luffy is clever enough that he's still able to get the upper hand and basically knock Crocodile's face into the ground. And he's trying to just soak Crocodile. Crocodile barely avoids this initially by blowing him away with like a sandstorm. But then Luffy becomes Water Luffy. He ingests the water. So now he doesn't have to carry that barrel. It's just in his stomach. It's one of the silliest things so far, but turns out to be highly effective. And Luffy basically barfs the water all over Crocodile and gets him soaked, and then bazookas him and hits him extremely hard. And that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is called Nico Robin, and that was what's her name's real name, right? So I guess we get to find out why she helped Luffy. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if it'll happen next chapter, but something's coming related to her, and maybe why she helped him. why she's playing both sides a little bit, why she asked about him, Luffy being Luffy, D Luffy, the way of the D, fighting with that name, and we shall see. That will be here. Like and subscribe. Peace.